Ladies and gentlemen, SideStrafe back with World of Warships. And today we are going to take a look at the ship that everybody seems to love to hate. This is the Colorado class battleship for the United States of America. Now, this is Tier 7. And at Tier 6 we had the New Mexico, which most people seem to agree was a fantastic ship. Now, why is that primarily the case? I think it has to do with your gun arrangement on the New Mexico. You've got triple gun turrets on that vessel, and generally speaking, the more guns you have, the higher percentage chance you have to hit a target. And we all love hitting targets, don't we? It's how we get experience. It's how we get credits. You go to the Colorado and you're back to double gun turrets. Now your gun caliber goes up 406mm or 16 inch. And if you can hit a target, you can do some nice damage. The problem is, how often can you hit the target? Even if you are a fantastic marksman within this game, it seems that the gun dispersion of the Colorado just simply isn't fantastic, especially at maximum range, and even in some cases close quarters accuracy with battleships seems to be quite poor. The dispersion is just bad. I don't know why that's the case. Hopefully that's something that Wargaming will work on with all battleships. It seems to be across the board. Trying to kill a vessel next to you, especially a destroyer, not always easy. Even if you are on target, your guns just don't want to meet the threat. Now, there's guns, okay? So you have higher caliber. They can do a lot of damage if they hit, but your chances of hitting, not always fantastic. What else about this ship is worse than the New Mexico? Well, health pool seems to be lower. Armor seems to be lower as well. That might be historical. Rudder shift time seems to be worse, and I believe that covers it. Anti-aircraft is actually better, at least by the numbers. It's supposed to be better than the New Mexico, and I think that's the biggest pro that you get if we don't go back to talking about higher caliber guns. So with that said, I don't really blame people for not liking the Colorado. It's a rough ship, especially at Tier 7, where you've been doing 21 knots for the duration in dreadnought-style battleships. You're looking forward to North Carolina and Iowa, maybe even Montana, and you're having to put up with these slow movers. And in the higher tier maps, sometimes you get into some matches that are just actually difficult to navigate because you're slow, you can't keep up with the team, and you get left behind, and some of the maps and objective modes have you split up. It's rough, and you can get singled out, and if you're getting focus fire, there's just not a whole lot you can do. You can't really get to cover quickly enough because you're so slow. And on top of that, you're losing health, you're losing armor. I don't blame people for not liking this ship. However, am I going to spend real money to convert experience and get out of this ship? No, not at all. I consistently place within 1st through 5th place with this vessel, usually, unless I just have some derp match where I don't see any action, or I crash myself into an island or go the wrong way. It's not painful enough for me to want to switch out of. I think that my accuracy is pretty good. I'm okay on the trigger. I can usually hit a target. I know how to play these slow-moving battleships. I think they cater to my playstyle in many respects. I know how to angle my ship towards an enemy so that they can't damage me. I kind of like the dreadnoughts. I think they're fun. I've kept the New Mexico. I kept New York. I have my Arkansas beta. Wyoming fully upgraded isn't bad either, really. They can be quite a bit of fun, and they do have a reputation behind them. Is the Colorado living up to its reputation? Not really. I think historically one of the more famous Colorado class battleships was the USS West Virginia, which had a different hull later in the war, which is not represented here. This is a fully upgraded Colorado, by the way. But the USS West Virginia had a third hull type, I think, that only it had. Will we see it as a premium ship or an upgrade later on? I don't know. A lot of people think that this grindable Colorado should get that West Virginia hull to perhaps make it more durable. I wouldn't be against that, but then again, if people keep saying that only one ship had it, is it something where we would need to see it more as a premium? Not sure. But again, I want to make it clear that I'm not trying to sell you on this ship. I'm not trying to say that there's nothing wrong with it. The guns need work, in my opinion. If everything else is going to be bad about it, then the guns need an upgrade in regards to accuracy or velocity. I don't know. It's a bigger caliber, so the velocity you would think wouldn't improve. But I'm thinking accuracy. If we knew that the shot dispersion was better than that of the New Mexico, perhaps it would be a selling feature. Because, you know, again, in terms of game balance throughout the years, if you're not mobile or you don't have durability, usually that means you have firepower. For example, the Pensacola class cruiser for the Americans, you have less armor than a Cleveland. Lower rate of fire, but it seems like your AA is a bit better and you've got the higher caliber guns. So there's a trade though. You're a glass cannon. Your guns are pretty nice, and in some cases you can damage battleships severely with armor piercing 203. However, you don't have much armor, you don't want to take hits, you're easy to citadel from the side. There's a trade. Armor for guns. Here, you don't have that direct trade. It seems like we're supposed to. It seems like maybe something's just broken. Like, okay, here's these flaws, but here's the pro, but the pro got messed up somewhere along the line. Maybe it's just incomplete. I don't know if Wargaming has put out a statement. Many people seem to think this is just their way of sticking it to us and making us want to free XP out of it, you know. That could very well be. I had experienced similar things in World of Tanks. For example, M3 Lee. Again, they're a tank that everybody loved to hate. But I think the reason I mostly hated it was, well, you know, you couldn't use the other turret, and let's face it, the Lee's an ugly tank, and it's not fun to drive around. So, you know, bad matchmaking, so on and so forth. But here, at least the ship is cool looking. I guess I can kind of deal with it a bit more. I tend to enjoy trying to make ships work that most people don't like as well. So, you know, trying to place higher in the ranks with this is actually kind of fun for me. Call that crazy, but and again, I'm not trying to sell this. You know, I don't know that I would keep this ship. I guess maybe I would hold on to it for a while just to see if Wargaming might eventually buff it, because again, this class of battleship does have a reputation. You know, will they add the West Virginia in some shape or form? Will we get another hull upgrade? Will they actually do something about this thing? I think they need to. They really do. But I don't want to also suggest, like everybody else has, to, you know, convert XP to get out of it. I think that's bad advice. You should never advise somebody to spend extra money to get out of progression, or I should say to progress faster. You know, I just don't believe in doing that, because let's face it, I'm already paying for a premium account. Why should I spend more money to get out of something if this thing just seems broken, or if it needs a buff in some areas? I feel like that would be giving into what the developer wants. If that's the case, I'm not saying that, you know, there is malicious intent. I'm not saying that. I don't know if there is or isn't. Does it feel like it? Kind of, but, you know, I don't know for sure, so I'm not just going to sit here and assume that that's what's going on. It's still technically labeled as a beta. It could just be an incomplete ship. I don't know. But, you know, it is pretty rough. There's no doubt about it. And if you haven't been enjoying any of the battleships at all in the US line, and you simply are playing it because you want the North Carolina or the Iowa or the Montana, then I don't know what to tell you other than perhaps you're a glutton for punishment, because that's a lot of effort just to get to tier 8. And let me tell you right now, by the time you get to tier 8, you better have a lot of money ready, because maintaining tier 8 in the World of Tanks, World of Warships, it's expensive. If you lose your North Carolina, if you lose anything, I mean, even at this tier, you're not going to be making a lot of credits, especially if you're not on a premium account. Good luck. Good luck, because if you've been struggling just to get through these, if you've been putting yourself through ships that you have no interest in just to get to North Carolina, to me, that's not fun. Okay, if I was a game developer, I would want to make sure that all of the tiers are fun and perhaps provide you with a unique and enjoyable experience in some way. If that's not happening, then it's definitely something they need to work on. But if you're putting yourself through this just to get to a high tier, I don't even know if this is really the game for you, because it's going to get really expensive later on, and you're not going to be able to support those ships without playing some lower tiers, or maybe even at least owning a premium ship or having a premium account. So, you know, consider yourself warned right now. You're going to be putting up with 21 knots for a very long time. You're going to be in a dreadnought class ship for a very long time, and if you're not one that can appreciate armor angling, and somebody that perhaps just doesn't have patience, I would totally suggest you go with the Imperial Japanese Navy battleships right now. Faster ships, more maneuverable. They're pretty large, easy to hit if they're flat to you, but you know, they can keep up with fleets and get out of harm's way a little bit quicker. Their armor, I don't believe to be as good, at least in the dreadnought comparison. Americans also have a fantastic torpedo belt around the Citadel and more armoring around that area of the ship so that they can take hits at angles, and in some cases, if you take a torpedo at an angle on that torpedo belt, you won't even flood in an American ship, which is nice to have that durability. And if you're facing front, or even you know, with your rear at an angle to protect yourself, you're gonna live a long time. So if you like to take hits and you're okay with moving slow, then US battleships for a while are pretty nice. Now again, everything's going to change in North Carolina. The whole design philosophy for the United States changed drastically, and so you're going to get some more speed, more AA guns, and things are going to start to change. And I think even for the Japanese, when you get to Yamato, things change quite a bit. They almost start taking some ideas from the US battleships and just up armoring. But you know, again guys, I think most of this game, and most of any video game, it's really about adapt and overcome. I just don't like advising people to spend money to get past something, because then the developer wins. So if Wargaming has made this ship bad on purpose, then that doesn't mean that you should give them money to get out of it. That means that we need to provide feedback in video or text form somewhere on forums or Reddit, and just keep talking about it and discussing and suggesting things to help improve it somehow. Maybe they'll listen, maybe they won't. I don't know. Whatever's clever. You know, it's their game. They're going to do what they want. And I'll tell you what, though, if we keep giving in to the bad advice that's out there, because I've seen several YouTube videos of YouTubers saying, oh, you should get out of this. It's terrible. Just XP pat. What? That's bad advice. That's horrible advice. Wargaming will win, and they're going to see the data and going to say, oh look, guess what, everybody's paying to get past this ship, which means our tactics are working. Let's keep doing it. Let's do it again. We're going to do it for the Royal Navy, we're going to do it for the Germans, we're going to do it. They're just going to keep doing it because you keep giving them money. It's then our fault, because as a developer, as a business, why wouldn't they keep conducting themselves in such a manner? They have the data that says that you keep giving them money to pass something that's bad. Well, it's your own fault then. I'm not saying, oh, good on the developer, you know, that they're smart with their business. No, I think that's a terrible way to run a business. I think every tier should be enjoyable. Every ship in some way needs to be enjoyable. End of story, okay? A lot of people come home from a day of work, school, whatever. You had a bad day. You want to get in your video game and have some fun and forget about everything else. You don't want to have a tough time playing this game. You don't want to bust your ass to get to tier 7 and have to deal with crap. So that's bad development if that's the case. Again, and I'm not stating malicious intent. I'm saying if that is the case, then shame on you, Wargaming. But that doesn't mean that we should be giving them money because we don't like something. That's the wrong attitude, and that is just enforcing their current development tactics. And I just don't think we should do that. It's not something that I would advise. Please don't listen to other YouTubers. In fact, don't even listen to me if you don't want. Figure it out for yourself, okay? And I told people watching me live stream, they're like, SideStrafe, you need to skip that ship. Just free XP, forget it, skip it. Pay the money, get out of it. You know, I heard this, I heard that. And many people that were giving me advice, not all, but some people that were giving me advice had never played the Colorado. They kept saying to me this, I heard it was bad. I heard this was bad. I heard. This YouTuber told me. I watched this one video and he said this. You know what? I said, what kind of person would I be if I didn't see for myself? What kind of YouTuber or live streamer would I be if I didn't form my own opinion and deliver that opinion unto you? You have to see these things for yourself so that you know, okay, Colorado's horrible, or it's not that bad, or it's great. You have to figure these things out for yourself. And I'm glad that I did. Yeah, the ship's an investment. I think you spend like 6 million credits to get into it. Yeah, you know, that can be kind of painful to spend that money and then upgrade the hulls and range finding and whatever. So perhaps you just don't want to spend the credits. Maybe you want to save that 6 million for the North Carolina or something else. Maybe you have an infinite supply of money, fat wallet, you don't care about using the XP to get past the ship that you know you won't like. Hey, you know, who am I to tell you what to do with your cash? That's fine. I'm just saying, let's not encourage bad game development by giving into what might be a tactic to get us to, you know, fast forward through the ship. I just don't think that's going to help anybody in the long run. But again, I know that my audience is limited and my advice will only go so far, and no matter what I say, Wargaming is going to do whatever they want anyway. But again, I'm just trying to save you some money and tell you that if you've already been putting up with these American battleships, then I don't know that it's that much worse. If you have horrible accuracy and you can't hit targets, then yeah, you're definitely going to hate this ship, because it already does a good enough job at missing things as it is on its own. So it is a bit problematic in that respect. But end of the match, and because we have more points, we have a victory. I wanted to give you a match that wasn't amazing, but that wasn't bad. It was somewhere in the middle, so as to not seem biased. Again, I think I have a lot of XP here, mostly because I had the 50% XP flag, and this might have been a 1.5 times. I'm not sure, I forget. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I really hope that this video has been of some use to you. I know that the Colorado is not the easiest ship to get along with. Hopefully Wargaming will do something about those guns at the very least, and maybe we'll even see some new hull types. Here's hoping. With that said, thank you so much for joining me, and I will definitely see you on the next one.